some more video of downtown Cabo. Just to give you guys an idea of what you're really, what Cabo really is like. Very uneven sidewalks. Sometimes there's no sidewalks. Like you could be walking and almost fall into like a hole on the street. There's a lot of restaurants and they're located inside these little homes. Very interesting. A lot of vacant lots. A lot of places where they are, where they're building up. So, look at this nice, colorful restaurant with this tiny little sidewalk. Look at this. Crazy. Look at this.
Look, I found a vegan restaurant.
Where?
Vegan food.
Really? Look at this.
Next.
We weren't even looking, and this sign over here says vegan food. Look at this. Vegan food and vegetarian. Very cool. Wow. So they don't have parking signs here as far as I can tell. I haven't seen any parking signs. But the red curbs mean you're not allowed to park. The white curbs, if you can see in the distance, is a white curb. That apparently means you can park. The green curbs mean something else. The blue curbs mean something else. There's a green curb all the way over here. Back here. I don't know if you can see it. So they all mean something different. And we're hoping that where we parked our car, we'll be okay. Something that I wanted to point out about this place, something that prompted me to want to point it out about Mexico, well, at least Cabo, I don't know about about Mexico, is the fact that the curbs are very, very high. So like this is a very low curb, but compared to like New York, this would be actually a high curb. But if you look up this way, you're looking about at like 8-inch high curbs, which is, fine for somebody like me. But somebody like my mom, for example, they might not be able to get around as well. Now, something that you have to keep in mind is half the curbs are cracked. So you can see you can walk up the cracked curb, stuff like that. But another thing to keep in mind, if you're walking around here and you don't have great stability, the cracks in the sidewalk and the dirt paths, and you see this huge dip in the road comes out of nowhere. So where you can get away with, in New York, walking around and being relatively safe, unless you fall into like an open manhole or walk into, a pole, where you can get by walking around without really looking at the floor too much. Over here, you really can't. You can't. It's very, very dangerous. You can trip and fall and, hurt yourself very badly because it's just not, it's not safe to walk without watching where you're going. And even if you're watching where you're going, it's not necessarily safe in many respects. I found this while we were walking. My wife found this with like a botanical garden type of thing, and it has a really great view of the city. You hear the roosters? So we stopped off at that vegan place. We found out that the name of that vegan place is called Bajarosha. They didn't have the name of the place on the actual restaurant, which was interesting, but we found out that that was it because we actually had met a couple at another vegan restaurant that told us about the place. So when we found it, we said, oh, this must be it. We looked on Google Maps. Sure enough, it was called Bajarosha. So the woman there did not speak a lick of English, but we were able to communicate with her using the very small amount of Spanish that we do know, as well as using Spanish Dict app that I mentioned to you guys. We were able to connect with her and get across the fact that they don't open till 6, but she's willing to open early for us. So we're gonna head back there around 2. Again, right now we're just at this botanical garden. Check it out. Got a nice view of the city. Got some gorgeous street art down here. Look at this. I don't know who that's supposed to be, but it's stunning. Really beautiful. Really beautiful. Really, it's gorgeous in its own right. You know, it's not, again, it's not probably what you think of when you think of Mexico. You know, you think of beaches and you think of all this stuff, but guys, this is the real Mexico. This is, Mexico's huge, but this is the real Cabo. Let me put it like that. But I have a feeling, like I said, that most of Mexico is very much like this, regardless of where you are. I think it's very much like this. And you're just pretty much, you know, in those beach resort areas when you're in a resort. You know what I'm saying? So if you want the real experience, you know, you can get the real experience. And so far, we haven't had anything but good experiences outside of a resort area. So hopefully it stays that way. Check out these steps. Huge steps. Very thick steps. You know, like almost a foot thick. Very high curbs. It would be hard for somebody who has had trouble getting around to get around here. Hola.
Hola. Thanks so much on there to sign language.
Inclusion.
T. Interesting.
Very. Thing that I really love here is, I've mentioned it in another video, is the fact that everybody seems to be so nice. Now, I mean, are you gonna find trouble everywhere you go? Yeah, of course. You know, the world we live in is full of it. But as a whole, the people that we've met here have been absolutely fantastic. Hopefully we don't run into any trouble. From what I understand from many people, there are, you know, a lot of crooked police in Mexico. But at the same time that I've heard those things, I've also heard that those are misconceptions and that there are crooked police everywhere. But it's few and far between in Mexico. So, you know, a couple of bad apples like spoil the bunch, if that's the saying, you know what I'm saying? So from what I understand, there's a lot fewer. But in America, in the United States, we hear like it's running rampant. You know what I mean? There's problems everywhere with the police and all this stuff. We haven't seen any issues so far. The police have been very kind and very nice from what we can see so far. We've had no issues, and hopefully we don't. But, you know, one thing to keep in mind is you have the police. I don't know if they're the regular police or if they're like more of a, you know, militant type of police. I think if they're the regular police, they will drive around with machine guns. So keep in mind, they're doing their thing, driving around just like you'd see a cop walking the beat over in New York, in the United States. They walk the beat here, but they're in their big tanks of trucks. They have their machine guns and stuff like that. So it's very different, but it's been very cool, very interesting to see. And they just do their thing. You know what I mean? They're just doing what cops do. They patrolling. They just happen to have machine guns. Even the MTA here, not the MTA, but you know, the transit police here, even the transit police here, they have guns. They're just to a lesser extent, they're handguns. But still, the transit police in New York, they don't have guns. The MTA, they don't carry guns. But here they do. A lot of is poop all over the floor. So you gotta watch out for curbs, and you gotta watch out for poop. Wow, there's poop everywhere. You know why there's poop everywhere? Look at the dog. There's a lot of stray dogs we've seen too. El perro? El perro. El perro. Look, he knows his name. He looked at us. Let's hope El Perro is friendly. Hola, El Perro. not stray though.
Hola.